Hi, I'm Mike and I'm the All Hallows Geek, and welcome to This Week in Eek, my weekly series where I put a little eek in your week by recapping some of the top stories in Halloween and horror news from the last week. Well, the big story this week, both physically and in popularity, has to be the return of Home Depot's 12-foot skeleton. Introduced in 2020, the 12-foot skeleton made our first Halloween in the pandemic a bit less of a bummer and ensured that neighbors could see that you had the Halloween spirit from a significant social distance. And in 2021, Home Depot brought the skeleton back along with a new friend, the 12-foot Pumpkin Inferno skeleton, which gave the skeleton a pumpkin patch makeover complete with a jack-o'-lantern head and pumpkin vines for his skeleton. Both of the massive props made their return to HomeDepot.com on Thursday, and they were available for about an hour and a half, and then they seemingly sold out. However, the listings did reappear a few hours later, but by the late afternoon, they really had sold out. They were removed from the site, and Home Depot basically said on Twitter, like, if you got one, good for you. Otherwise, we've got a few normal skeletons left, but that's about it. So if you're able to score one of those 12-foot beauties, congrats. Otherwise, better luck later this year when they hopefully start popping up at local Home Depots. And our other big story this week will be a particular interest to fans of Mattel's Monster High. This week, Nickelodeon shared a teaser for the new live-action Monster High, the movie. In it, we got a few quick glimpses at some of Monster High's most notable students, but nothing really truly of significance. However, Nickelodeon seemed to remedy this later in the week with the release of 9 new character posters showing some of the students and faculty of Monster High. The latest take on Monster High will be a television movie musical that follows Claudine Wolf, who was born half human and half werewolf, after she arrives at her new school, Monster High. She quickly makes friends with her classmates Frankie Stein and Draculaura, and for the first time in her life, she feels like she fits in and can be herself, despite keeping her human half a secret. When a devious plan to destroy Monster High threatens to reveal her true identity, Claudine must learn to embrace her true monster heart and find a way to save the day. Monster High the movie will premiere this fall on Nickelodeon and Paramount+. And another movie making its premiere this fall is Hocus Pocus 2. And this week we learned that Yahtzee will be getting a special Hocus Pocus edition later this summer. While it plays like the regular dice game Yahtzee, this Hocus Pocus edition gives the game a bewitching twist with the 5 dice featuring one of 6 potion ingredients on each side. Use the Cauldron Dice Cup to mix up a win with the ingredients Oil of Boil, Dead Man's Toe, Newt Saliva, Dash of Pox, Herb That's Red, and Thine Own Tongue. Yahtzee Disney Hocus Pocus has the suggested retail price of $22.99, and while the Op Games website doesn't have a release date listed, GameNerds.com lists the release date as July 29th, 2022. And if you're a fan of It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, or more specifically its soundtrack, we got some exciting news from Craft Recording this week. Craft will be releasing a definitive bonus-filled edition of the It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown soundtrack, featuring 7 previously unreleased alternate takes of some of your favorite Great Pumpkin songs. The alternate takes were uncovered after the recent passing of It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown executive producer Lee Mendelson. In addition to the new tracks, this new release of the soundtrack will include new liner notes by Peanuts historian Derek Bang, with contributions from the family of Mendelson, and a note from Mendelson which originally appeared in the 2018 release of the album. The album will be released on August 26th and be available in several formats. Vinyl collectors will be able to pick up a 45 RPM pressing on black vinyl housed in a standard jacket, or as a 33 1/3 RPM pressing on pumpkin-shaped translucent orange vinyl housed in a clear sleeve. Both releases will come with a 4-page insert. And Craft is also releasing a collectible edition 45 RPM pressing in a pumpkin patch splatter design that is limited to 500 copies, but unfortunately, as of the time of this recording, this version has already sold out. Other formats being released include CD and digital. And for a taste of what to expect from the newly uncovered tracks, Craft has released a digital single of The Great Pumpkin Waltz Alternate Take 2, which you can stream now on all digital platforms. A second pre-release track, Linus and Lucy Alternate Take 2, is scheduled for release on August 5th. The complete soundtrack is available for pre-order now for links to the various formats, head over to my full coverage over on allhallowsgeek.com. And were you a fan of Netflix's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot sequel released earlier this year? If so, you might be interested to know that Hiya Toys is releasing an action figure of the film's take on Leatherface. The 1/8 scale figure stands just under 5 inches tall and features intricate details based on the character from the Netflix film. The figure will come with one pair of interchangeable hands and a chainsaw accessory and features 15 points of articulation. The figure is available for pre-order now through Entertainment Earth, and I'll be sure to share my affiliate link down in the description below. And we're just over a month out from San Diego Comic-Con, and this week we started getting our first glimpses at some of the convention-exclusive toys being released this year. First, Rob Zombie announced that NECA would be releasing a Comic-Con exclusive Zombo figure inspired by the character from his upcoming The Munsters movie. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar, Zombo was a one-off character that appeared in a single episode of the Munsters television series back in 1966. Played by the late Louis Nye, Zombo was a TV horror host who Eddie Munster just kind of took an interest in. He kind of became obsessed with, really. And it sparked a bit of jealousy from Herman, who obviously is a real monster, and he sees Eddie getting excited about this fake monster and looking up to him, and it causes some chaos. Well, Rob Zombie unveiled late last month that the obscure character would be revived as a character in his upcoming film. The Zombo action figure will be a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive and will only be available at the NECA booth during the event, which is taking place July 20th through 24th. The figure comes packaged in a Crumble Creature Crackers box inspired by the fictitious product which sponsored the House of Zombo television series in the original show. That said, while you'll have to attend Comic-Con for the first reveal, this next one is evening the playing field slightly by also getting an online release. So this week, Funko unveiled its lineup of San Diego Comic-Con releases, and among them were a new glow-in-the-dark Funko Pop and Loungefly mini backpack inspired by the Demogorgon from Stranger Things. This Comic-Con exclusive bundle will be available at Funko's Funkoville experience at San Diego Comic-Con, but it will also be getting a Funko.com release on Thursday, July 21st. And for my SoCal friends, this week the Disneyland Resort outlined its plans for Halloweentime, including on-sale dates for this year's Oogie Boogie Bash. Halloweentime is set to return to the Disneyland Resort starting September 2nd and will run through Halloween. At Disneyland, your favorite Disney characters will don brand new Halloween looks, like these we saw teased back in April, and will be out and about along with some of your favorite Disney villains. The Haunted Mansion will again transform into Haunted Mansion Holiday, where Jack Skellington will wreck the halls with his The Nightmare Before Christmas overlay. And Halloween screams will again fill each night of Halloweentime with a vibrant projection and light show, and on weekends the nighttime experience will be enhanced by frightful fireworks. At Disney California Adventure Park, it will again fall under the spell of The Nightmare Before Christmas's Oogie Boogie, who will dress up Buena Vista Street in its Halloween best, complete with a 10-foot headless horseman statue and a swarm of bats atop the Carthay Circle restaurant. In Cars Land, Radiator Springs will again become Radiator Screams, with a complete Halloween makeover, with Lightning McQueen, Mater, Cruz, and Red all greeting guests in their Carstoons. And you'll be able to catch a ride on Halloween versions of Mater's Junkyard Jamboree and Luigi's Rollickin' Roadsters. And over in Avengers Campus, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout will transform into Guardians of the Galaxy Monsters After Dark each night after the sun sets. And in the back of the park, Paradise Gardens will again transform into Plaza de Familia, an immersive limited-time celebration inspired by the spirit of Dia de los Muertos. And this features live entertainment, festive foods, crafts, and even some appearances from some of your favorite characters from Disney Pixar's Coco. And for those interested in Oogie Boogie Bash, this separate ticketed nighttime event will return to Disney California Adventure Park for 23 select nights beginning September 6th and running through Halloween. This after-hours event allows guests to enjoy the park's attractions, exclusive entertainment, character sightings, and more, all while dressed in their favorite Halloween costumes. Mickey Magic Key holders will have a shot at a limited pre-sale beginning no earlier than 9 a.m. Pacific Time on June 28th. During this time, D23 members will also have the opportunity to purchase tickets to their own exclusive one-night special event, which is scheduled for Saturday, September 10th. Oogie Boogie Bash tickets will go on sale to the general public beginning June 30th, no earlier than 9 a.m. Pacific time at disneyland.com/Oogie Boogie Bash. And while we're talking SoCal, Midsummer Screen, the world's largest Halloween and horror convention, is set to make its return to the Long Beach Convention Center July 29th through 31st. And this week we got two new exciting announcements out of the event. First, Universal Studios Hollywood Halloween Horror Nights creative director and executive producer John Murdy will be making his return to Midsummer Screen to share some of the design process and details around this year's slate of haunted houses. Universal's already announced some exciting haunts for 2022, including Halloween, inspired by John Carpenter's 1978 classic, and Universal Monsters Legends Collide, which features the iconic Universal monsters Dracula, the Wolfman, and the Mummy. And if this year's anything like years past, Murdy is sure to share some great behind-the-scenes details, concept art, and hell if we're lucky, exclusive announcements. Also coming to this year's Midsummer Screen is the WNUF Halloween sequel. The follow-up to the cult classic WNUF Halloween special will have a special advanced screening on the evening of July 29th, thanks to a partnership with Cinematic Void. The screening will be accompanied by a pre-screening mixer featuring cocktails, spooky visuals, and live music, and will be followed by a post-film Q&A with filmmaker Chris LaMartina and co-producer and star Melissa LaMartina. If you're unfamiliar with the WNUF Halloween special, it's a low-budget love letter to local television and VHS recordings. The film is presented as a recording of new segments and commercials from a faux 1987 Halloween broadcast where a visit to an alleged haunted house goes horribly awry on live television. The sequel fast-forwards to the 90s for a new nostalgic nightmare full of over-the-top October kitsch and more kooky and cringy commercials. Admission to the screening is included with any Friday, weekend, or gold-backed ticket to Midsummer Screen. Tickets to the event are still available and can be purchased now at midsummerscreen.org. That's it for this week. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, leave me a comment, or better yet, subscribe to make sure you always get your weekly dose of Geek. For more information on any of this week's top stories, you can always find the full coverage over on allhallowsgeek.com. Until next time, keep it creepy.